As we all know, the internet can be a wide, diverse place. And it often is, with so much stuff that you can't really see it all, even if you had all the time in the world. I spend a lot of time digging around the internet, so what better iceberg for me to do than the websites and apps iceberg? Now, if you touch grass and know what the sun looks like, you probably haven't heard of a lot of these. If you're a Redditor, I am so sorry, but I guess you just know all of these, so just like the video, subscribe, and go. Now, without further ado, let's just dive right into it. First up, we have the Lost Media Wiki. Now, the Lost Media Wiki is a website dedicated to finding lost media and cataloging it, as humans tend to do. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here, but it's obviously incredibly obscure, hence the name Lost Media, and it's very fun to go through just to see what's up with it. ThirdWorlds.net. ThirdWorlds.net is a website for the band Death Grips that, at time of recording, appears to be down, so I don't really have any stuff for you. ARGs, or alternate reality games, are games that use the real world as a platform to deliver a story. Now, these tend to be scattered throughout the web, and they are very interesting to study and find, mostly because at first you won't recognize that it's an ARG. It'll simply look like your run-of-the-mill web mystery. Now, garfcom.biz is very clearly the most professional business website for your favorite lasagna cat, Garfold. It's a spoof website made to mock it. This shit looks like a download. There's so many downloads. Your one and only download source. God have mercy, if I click on any of these links, my computer will die. The Useless Web is a website designed to take you to useless websites. All you have to do is say please. Mondrain and Me is what it came up with this time, and I have no clue what the fuck this is. Now, GoDaddy kicked the bucket as the primary website creator in sometime around 2011, but for some reason the creator of this iceberg chart decided to choose channel69.godaddysites.com for what I presume is a very cheap 69 joke. Haha, nice, great job. Actually, on second review, this website appears to be some form of shitpost. 42069 Bruhtown, Maple Hill, Minnesota, United States. Very cool, very cool. Reddit humor, am I right? Creepypasta Wiki. Now, this wiki is dedicated to cataloging all things creepypasta. Very self-explanatory. Hopefully I'm on the right creepypasta wiki page, mostly because there's often duplicates of pages like this. Very, very self-explanatory. Zombo.com, although it appears to be simply an infinite loading page, is, according to Wikipedia, a little bit of an inside joke between the students and the faculty at George Washington University that got out onto the widespread web, meant to mock Flash introductory pages. Windows 93 is a charming and cute little website meant to imitate the nostalgic startup systems and home pages of way old computers. I'm kind of scared to click on anything because I don't want to break my laptop. But also, wow, I really like the aesthetic here, especially that home screen. That's nice. Flash game websites. Now, Flash Games isn't a name I've heard for all of 2021. Sadly, Adobe Flash Player was murdered at the end of 2020. So, most of these charming, unique Flash games you had as a child playing on the computer at computer lab when you were supposed to be learning how to type properly, and now you do chicken pox for all of your life like Miss Merritt said you would, those are all gone. Forever. Except for the ones that were archived. Those ones aren't gone. But for the most part, they're gone. Now we descend the iceberg to Tier 4, or, aptly named, there's only 2 sites in this tier that people have heard of. Can you guess? Maybe 3, I don't know. And from the looks of it, there's only like 2 or 3 actual websites on here. So let's dive in. Onwards! Now, White Enamel actually took me a little bit of digging, but it appears to be a point-and-click horror game, which actually sounds really interesting. I might just have to make a shitty 2005 Let's Play about it. Bong Cheon Dong Ghost is a webcomic published in around 2011 that went absolutely viral after it included jump scares in its animations. Now, it's like 11:38 p.m., so I'm not gonna give myself crippling paranoia by reading it right now, but it is available on Webtoons if you want to read it. Alright, I'm gonna knock 2 out, one right after the other, scams and hacked websites. Now, scam websites and hacked websites are websites meant to spread malware by making you click on them. So you know when that one weird Facebook account DMs you pretending to be a horny woman, it normally leads to a scam or a hacked website. WikiLeaks. Now, everyone's heard of WikiLeaks in one way or another, but very few have ever actually been to it, making it a relatively obscure website. Even less have been to it recently, mostly because of legal trouble that Julian Assange has gotten into, and the fact that governments don't exactly like the fact that freedom of speech is being used to leak the shady-ass shit they're doing. Ruby's Dark Matter Cola is a site that doesn't appear to be too strange, just obscure. It's got a weird name, a QR code that it wants me to scan really badly, and of course, some cursed text. Join us at Redacted. And it is 11 a.m. at Not Earth. So, yeah, that's neat. Take This Lollipop is an interactive horror experience that was designed in the early 2010s that basically takes data from your Facebook account to make a personalized horror story that you can see 3 times for the low price of $1.49. Lomando.com, or Fancy Island, is a relatively cutesy website designed around a web-based game. I find this very enjoyable. The pink is nice, cute chibi little characters, even a little guide on how to play. And now we're on to level 5. Some of this tier is illegal? I doubt that. I'm gonna look all of this up. Fuck you, OP. Death Date is a website designed to tell you, supposedly, how much longer you have left on this earth. It's a gag website all the way back from 2006. Wow, this is nice for 2006. After this, we have the dark/deep web. Now, these are web pages that are harder to access and require something called a Tor browser. However, it's also used as a major buzzword to scare 12-year-olds on the internet. So while you can find a lot of shady and illicit stuff on the dark and deep web, you're not going to open it up and immediately have a sniper rifle pointed at your head and a child porn tab open in the background of your computer. First up, we have shock sites. Now, shock sites are relatively obscure, but almost everyone who's been on the internet for 5 times has seen at least one of them, and has seen some incredibly fucked up shit. You know, little 13-year-old me really could have done without LiveLeak. Goodbye to the Dolphin's Dream is a Screamer website that unfortunately no longer exists. However, it was a website designed to scream at you, and is considered to be one of the words you shouldn't search on Google. Very scary at 3 a.m. Fatal Farm appears to be a group of gag websites that are all very interesting to look at, which also brings us to the next entry, Lasagna Cat, which is operated by the same people as Fatal Farm. Lasagna Cat is a joke website about Garfield. This John is the most uncanny shit I've ever seen, and Garfield looks like he just killed 27 children, and I'm next. Rule 34 is internet slang that states if something exists, there is porn of it, and there always will be. The only exception is Rule 34 itself, but it's debatable whether or not there's even porn of Rule 34. Of course, it's also an infamous hentai website. I'm talking the largest collection of anime hongaladongas in existence. Now, for obvious reasons, I can't exactly show that on a video posted on YouTube. Anna Boot Camp was a rather hard one to track down, mostly because it shares the same name as a diet. Now, I don't exactly know what's going on here, and I can't say for sure if this is the right thing, but it appears to be a bunch of women talking about losing weight and or feeling bad about gaining weight. So, yeah. The ABC diet. Holy shit, 500 calories, that is not healthy. Don't do that to your body. 500 calories is not a good thing. South32.com. I'll be completely honest with you. This makes no fucking sense. I'm gonna presume it's a start to some form of ARG and or web game, but I have no fucking clue. Joy of Satan. Now, while I couldn't find a Joy of Satan website, I could find references to a Joy of Satan Ministries, which appears to be a subsect of Satanism that believed that Satan was the true creator, and that deities were also highly evolved, unaging, sentient, and powerful humanoid extraterrestrial beings. I'm sure their website is very, very interesting. Cicada 3301 is the name given to the group of puzzle makers and the puzzles that they made. Simply the most boggling internet mysteries that I have ever seen. They started on 4chan. However, no one's ever truly solved them from what I've heard. The puzzles focus heavily on stuff like data security, as you can see on the Wikipedia page here. And they kind of went offline. I personally think it was an ARG game. However, no one's ever attempted to monetize it or anything, and no one's ever come forward to claim that they own it. Pornhub is the world's most popular porn website. Now, why it is for some ungodly reason below Cicada 3301 is a fucking mystery to me. And yes, I did risk actually going to Pornhub.com and filming this little bit of footage using my screen recorder to block the fat set of titties that is right behind it. So if you haven't already, like the goddamn video. Now, we're on to level 6. Half illegal, half forgotten. Catch me breaking the law. World births and deaths. Now, around the web, there are dozens of websites dedicated to just keeping tab of how many people have been born, how many people have died, and all kinds of other numbers that you just love to stare at. This is one of many, unfortunately chock full of ads that weren't there when I originally loaded the page. LiveLeak was a website from the era of gore hunting that we saw from the early web until just a few years ago. That was the main provider. If you saw some poor Chinese steelworker about to get fucking melted, you likely saw the LiveLeak logo in the corner. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on whether or not you're a parent or a fucking degenerate, this website has been closed down as the internet's insatiable hunt for gore goes away. Memory of, a spelling error that I think was meant to be in memory of, is a website dedicated to making memorials for deceased loved ones off of the internet's charity. This is very obscure and took me some time to get to. However, I do appreciate it, and I think more people should donate to it. Sad Satan original download link. Now, Sad Satan was a supposedly cursed game downloaded from the dark web, which sounds very sketchy, but oh well, and saw a little bit of popularity back in 2015-2016 when it first became relevant. Now, seeing as how it was downloaded from the dark web and passed around 4chan until Kotaku found it, it would make sense that somewhere deep in the web, the original download link is there. Goodbye Warden is a collection of death row inmates' last words in Texas since 1982. And while I doubt the page that I have pulled up here is the actual Goodbye Warden page, I still find it very interesting. Mouchette.org was a website created in 1996 as an interactive horror game experience. However, because it was created in 1996, the death of Adobe Flash Player also meant the death of this website, and it is no more. The Fifth Nail. The Fifth Nail was a website created by Joseph Edward Duncan III, a convicted serial killer and child molester. Now, understandably, this is starting to get to some disturbing shit between this and Pain Olympics, so I'm not even gonna bother going on to the Fifth Nail, because the last thing I want is to have my channel fucking bazoinkled by some serial killer from the early 2000s. Enrich's, or Gomez disease, was an ARG that was unfortunately abandoned a few years back. It persists as an obscure thing to know about, though, because all of it went away when the website went down. Much like the BME Pain Olympics or LiveLeaks, Best Gore is a shock website that will fuck with your head, so I'm not even gonna go on it. Ogrish.com was a website dedicated to gore, much like many of the other websites we've covered on this iceberg, and it was killed as LiveLeak rose to popularity. The link just leads you to LiveLink, which is now gone, but Ogrish was a horrifying thing to see when it was active. The Cannibal Cafe Forum. Now, the Cannibal Cafe Forum was a website dedicated to people talking to other people who were interested in fucking eating each other. That is, weird. Really weird. Using the Wayback Machine, I've accessed this shit show, and, yeah. The dogofcum.com. This was a mistake. I'm going to kill myself now after reading this. It's about dog porn. Goodbye. Sentimentalcorp.org. Now, sentimentalcorp.org is an art project, which is to say it combines thematic imagery with over-the-top ideas and simply puts them in a web page that looks rather mysterious. Now with this one, we're just gonna knock out 3 in a row. Websites with FBI investigations. If the federal government is investigating your website, it's very likely that that website is really fucked up and probably not easily accessible. Drug trafficking sites. Drug trafficking and drug sales are meant to be something that's hard to find if you're not trying to get high, and thus tend to be hidden a few layers into the deep web. And last but not least, unsolved ARGs. ARGs, or augmented reality games, are games that mix mediums in an ultimate manner to create puzzles for players to solve. However, sometimes they just don't gain popularity, and they forever stay unsolved, only the strange media found around the web to let you know whatever existed. Rate my poo. This is self-explanatory enough, and you've got me fucked up if you think I'm gonna click on any of these goddamn links. Opentopia is a website that all of us have probably heard the concept to. The idea that webcams are being pushed online and viewed by others. And this is what Opentopia does. I'm rather uncomfortable being here, but at least I don't see myself. Yet. LHOHQ, or Laughing Horses Orpheus headquarters, is this? Yeah, it's weird, but Blame It on Jorge has a fantastic video going into this rabbit hole that I'd recommend. WW1 websites. WW1 is in reference to how far your computer or phone has to go into a server to access a website. So if it has WW1 or WW2, that means it's most likely to be a very secure page, somewhere like a bank account sign-in terminal. Inexplicably, Brazzers, the second most mainstream porn site right behind Pornhub, is this far down the iceberg. Brazzers is a porno site. Yes, good job everybody. Porn! 9. I couldn't find shit on what this is. If you know, go ahead and tell me down in the comments. But this is a very hard thing to search for when what Google thinks you're looking for is the number, and DuckDuckGo can't understand something that's N that isn't a racial slur. Trenchcoat.com is an online adult store, and you've got me fucked up if you think I'm gonna click on that. The eBoob store can stay closed. Now, the final level. Why .info. Why not see it for yourself? And with that ends our dive into the website's Iceberg. It's been very exciting to have to put this together over the course of 3 days, and despite the iceberg itself not being the best I've ever seen, it was interesting to go through all of these entries. If you enjoyed, and if you even made it this far, please consider subscribing. It's free, and it helps me achieve my dreams. You can always undo it later. Now, without further ado, I'll stop taking up your time. Have a wonderful day. Memento mori.